review.
Do we just have blue sleep or something?
Yeah.
Got it.
If you need a blank piece of paper, I can get some of that for you.
Then you're oddly flexible.
So go ahead and take the derivative of that, please. Thank you, sir.
Did I do that piece of paper?
Yes.
Oh wait, that's the like product rule. Oh my god, Seth. Oh my god. That's all I have. Oh, Seth, do you want to play Mario Kart after school? Yeah. You have homework.
Anybody else want paper?
I. I'm gonna.
Never mind. If anybody else wants paper,
Oh, paper for that.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of stuff in there.
Did our test multiple choice? I thought our period test
There's a
multiple
little
choice.
police
No.
guy.
I wish. No, for really
What?
Nope.
multiple
It's
choice.
the finals multiple choice.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think it's my first time taking notes.
In terms of what I'm going to let you have on the test to help you out, basically anything that is not a worked example is fine. Trig functions, I mean, basically are worked examples, so you can have those. You don't have to memorize the derivatives and integrals of trig functions. So basically what that means is that giant thing that I had you, the big box of integral rules, that one you guys can bring in. I don't have it written out. You can
So we can bring it.
Yeah. And then in terms of derivatives, anything that is not a worked example is fair game. So, yes.
So
I have all mine with work examples on the same page, and I put sticky notes over them. If you want me to not rewrite them.
It better be a pretty good sticky note.
It'd probably just be easier to rewrite at that point.
Yeah, it probably would be. Yeah.
So can you talk about the test for a second?
Yeah, it's going to be 10 derivatives and 5 integrals.
That's it?
Yep.
yeah,
So there's no more problem. There's no like stuff like
the equation.
Well, there'll be one differential equation at the very end.
Not the differential equation.
That's the one where it's f equals ma, a turns into dv by dt, and you separate and integrate. Yes.
Guarantee one.
What did you say specifically? I didn't hear when you said about the practice problems where we can't have them in those steps.
Yeah, so any worked example you can't have, but anything other than that is just fine. You can have the trig rules, the integrals and derivatives of trig functions, and you can have that big integral box of rules that I had you take notes on. Yeah. Whatever you got to do for that.
You curve your test or no?
No, you guys aren't going to need a curve. It's, we're practicing. Here, let me make sure you realize this. We're practicing mostly the difficult problems. The test is a combination of easy and difficult problems, and they're all worth the same. The differential equation at the very end is going to be worth the same amount of points as the beginning problem, which is basically take the derivative of that. So
9x to the 8.
the
Yeah.
x
Yeah, we're gonna
cubed,
need a curve.
right?
you guys will be fine.
That's the x cubed.
9x to the 8.
So it keeps on texting me.
So let's take a quick look at this one. This would be a product rule thing. You could do product rule, or you could just multiply this through and take it all separately. In terms of the product rule, when you go ahead and do this, the best thing you can do here is remember that this is t to the 1/2, and you're multiplying that by 1 minus t. So remember the product rule, you just take out the first, take the derivative of the second, and then you add, and then you take out the second and multiply it by the derivative of the first. So your answer in this case would end up being equal to...
I have to cross it.
Oh, sure, yeah, I can show the steps.
That would be the best.
Okay, so this is the setup. You're pulling out the first one, multiplying it by the derivative of the second one, and then you add, and then you pull out the second one, multiply that by the derivative of the first one. So when we do this, we've got t to the 1/2.
Negative t.
E,
Negative 1.
negative 1, yep. And what's the derivative of t to the 1/2?
Negative. Oh, my friend.
Yep, t to the negative 1/2, and then the original 1/2 comes out in front. Very good.
So the derivative is minus. And what's plus?
General.
Well, what about plussing?
Generally use it.
Well, I mean, it depends on what the inner function is, yeah. Because it's chain rule is derivative of the outer, keeping the inner function the same, multiplying that by the derivative of the inner. So plus and minus depend on that. So this is an example of product rule. Let's do an example of quotient rule. How far do you think you got to simplify these?
Pretty far.
Not all the way.
Not far at all. All right.
That's not all the way.
Here's your y function. Use the quotient rule to take that derivative, please.
Are we gonna have can we write down the quotient rule and stuff? For the test?
You can write down the mathy version of it.
Like the letter version?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Who's letters?
yeah, I'm like, come on.
Aren't letters supposed to be
Well,
the easy version?
I'm using
anyway?
letters.
If you don't have like the mathy scientific way of writing those out, let me know and I can get those to you. Otherwise, feel free to share them with each other.
How was your
It was a good weekend. My wife's brothers all visited, so that was cool.
Were there a lot of them?
Yeah, she has three brothers. She's the youngest in her family. I'm the oldest in mine.
No, it's the life.
Sarah's gone again.
Yeah, she's fine.
I think so Sarah, she's gonna
Big
not
push
show up
for her,
any of the days. She's
Oh, okay.
She's still gonna get 108 on the test.
Yeah.
You know she's gonna watch this entire thing over twice.
She's gonna come in and she's gonna be like, oh, I didn't know we had a test today, and she's gonna get like 100%.
She's gonna get 102.
Oh, that's
She's gonna
you.
find
That's me who does that. She will know there's a test and watch this twice over to make sure she knows everything.
Well, that's good. It's good to have you here, Sarah. We can feel your presence.
Sarah watching right now.
When we figure out she does next
Are you
year,
recording
because she
right now?
didn't.
Yes, I'm recording.
Sarah, we know you're in there. Like, just hop right out right now. You have to.
What are we doing tomorrow?
Tomorrow we're just gonna kind of hang out.
Come on,
Hey,
If you guys want more of a review session, we can do that. If you want to just chill, that's fine.
If we're hanging out tomorrow, can I bust out Jackbox?
Sure.
Jack in the box.
Alright.
Jack in the box. Wait, so no one.
I'm 9.
Oh wait, Ben, you weren't in 6-hour calc.
Dude, that was the greatest calc class ever.
I would have won Mario Kart.
Maybe.
We had some pretty intriguing discussions about
Physics.
calculus and what to do after calculus in the coming years of life.
Nothing.
And jump into differential equations. That's what you're gonna do.
No.
It's kind of rude.
Haven't been there at school.
Or Mr. Hathaway might.
I was just trying to do my criminal justice.
I was working on comparative origins and
I was reading about Bernard something in his case from 1987.
Bernard something?
Yeah, it was my criminal justice homework.
Oh, interesting.
Forgot his name.
What's
It
the
was
case
like-
about?
Oh, it was Getz. Bernard Getz.
Was he a lawyer?
He was a man who was on the subway in New York City who 2 people came up to him and asked him for $5 here. They're like, "Give me $5." We shot him 5 times.
Wow.
Wait, what?
Nice.
That's not what I would have expected.
No.
Oh,
And then it was about his trial
So this is
Yes.
good.
and whether or not, or if it was who was the aggressor. If they answer questions about if it was justified.
Was it justified?
No. You see, this thing was he'd been jumped before, so he had a gun on him.
gotta
But he wasn't licensed to have the gun on him.
All right. So let's take a look at this one. This is quotient rule all the way. The main thing with quotient rule is, unlike the product rule, where you could do either of those two things in whatever order you want because you're adding them, for quotient rule you're subtracting, so you have to keep track of the order. You pull out the denominator first, multiply that by the derivative of the numerator. 2x plus 1 is the derivative of that up there. Then you subtract and do the opposite. You bring out the numerator, multiply it by the derivative of the denominator. Of course, the 3 comes out in front, and that becomes a 2. That's where that comes from. And you put all of that over the denominator squared. So, quotient rule. Questions? All right. Moving on. It's chain rule time.
Well, do I have to simplify that or no?
No,
I actually did it.
that's fine.
Negative b plus or minus where you determine over c over 2
I got 2 chain rule problems for you.
There we go with the sign of
You
x.
just hold my brain.
Sign of x squared.
Do those for me. Chain rule, please.
That's
where I need
what
the
if I
chart.
said no, even if you asked nicely?
Oh, that would be mean, Placido. It's not in your nature.
Well, you're right. I guess I'll have to do it then.
Yeah.
It's so mean.
Mr. Hathaway, you're such a people person.
No, I'm just manipulative.
Close enough. I mean, yo, Mr. Hathaway, after class, do you want to play a Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo?
That does sound like fun, but I got some kids coming in to take a test.
Take it while it's
Because it ain't what it ended today.
Yeah?
What are you gonna do?
So, he's pondering whether or not to push the test back to the
It's
table.
close. Oh.
It's
close. That sounds right.
I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah.
Potter, I hear you have vocals.
Hmm?
I hear you're a good singer.
That's a lie.
I don't know. All the seniors were talking about it.
That's a bunch of liars.
Proof ask Mr. Weisman for a video.
He has a video?
Yes,
Definitely gonna have to check that one out.
Yeah, they have a video.
he does.
Potter's gonna start crying.
Potter, you need to get that video and get it wiped off the face of the earth.
Uh-oh. I got exposed.
I've been exposed with him.
Sine square is the sine of sine of x.
I know, I'm just doing this by my memory.
But like, if you could write it as the sine of x.
Strut your stuff.
What's the question?
What sine squared you can write as the sine of the sine of x, right?
I don't think so. I think it would be sine x times sine x.
Oh, okay, yeah. That makes sense.
No, that's just 2x, right?
So let's talk about that curve.
You guys aren't going to need it. I can smell it. I'm smelling a lot of A's and B's on this.
I can't afford it.
I
won't say you were right, but I definitely smell some F here.
No, but I was looking through the grade scale here. You can get an E. It's an F with effort.
Oh, gosh.
Oh.
Is there a specific
Okay.
rule for sine squared?
Yeah, this
No.
is like a cosine.
Is this exact question on the test?
No.
You sure?
No.
He just lied. He's like,
But I don't think, I probably wouldn't put this exact question on my review.
but we'll be similar.
But you do need to know this sort of thing.
Is it cosine of?
It could be.
Yeah, cosine would be negative sine.
Cosine of
Let's take a look at these, and then we'll move on to the next thing. So, this sine of x squared, we're going to have to use chain rule with this, because this is the inner function, this is the outer. So in order to use chain rule, and this is the most difficult derivative law that you need to remember, is you have to take the derivative of the outer, keeping the inner function the same, and multiply that by the derivative of the inner. So sine is the outermost function, so we derive that first. What's the derivative of sine?
Cosine.
Good. So cosine, we keep the inner function the same, and then we got to multiply that by the derivative of the inner function, which is?
2x.
Good. That's your answer.
Close enough. I got it.
Now, this one, maybe you did it right away. For me, I would probably rewrite it as this. Kind of makes it more clear to me on what I'm supposed to do. Clearly, the sine of x is your inner function, and the squared is your outer. So, I feel like we're talking about belly buttons when we talk about chain rule here. So your outer function is the 2. That's going to come out in front, because we always got to do that first, keeping the inner function the same. And then we have to multiply that by the derivative of the inner function. What's the derivative of sine?
Cosine x.
Yeah.
How did you get the answer on the algebra?
This
So
one?
I was close enough, too.
So sine of x squared, this is the inner function, this is the outer.
Oh.
So we do the outer function first. That's cosine. Inner function remains the same. And multiply all that by the derivative of the inner function, which is derivative of x squared, 2x. Sound good? Yep. All right. Natural log. Just remember that sometimes you got to use the natural log rules in combination with the chain rule. I'll carry you through this one just real quick, and then we'll move on to integrals.
Bro, does it have like
Integrals. I don't know what you, but integral.
integral?
I got to tell you something. When you said carries, so
Carrots?
my wife and her brothers were playing this big board game yesterday called Big Book of Madness. They all just love it. I think it's good, but my wife's like a calculator, like a graphing calculator, and I'm like a solar calculator from 5th grade. So she can see exactly what I should do and what she should do before I even know what cards I have. So anyway, they're playing this game, and I'm just more watching because she's so good at it. And I had this joke, like, ready to go. Like, you can get these cards. And I thought, when her cards finally add up to 10, when it's dead silent, I'm going to say, "Oh, honey, you got 10. That means you can carry the 1." And everybody would have just died laughing. I am not kidding you. But she was the only one who never got cards that added up to 10. And I was so mad. It would have been the best ever. So I'm bitter.
Left, and then you would have been able to go to prom.
Indeed. Alrighty. So, derivative.
Wait, what's the point of the game?
Okay, she won.
It's complicated. I'll have to tell you about it another time.
You missed, yeah, you're not senior. You missed us playing the math version of Cartoon Humanity with each bar on senior retreat.
Natural log of sine x.
It's based.
So, here is a combination of natural log and chain rule. Because you've got natural log, and you've got an inner function, which is chain rule. So we do the outer function first. Who can tell me what the derivative of a natural log of a function is?
Natural log. That was amazing.
Yes, it is 1 over whatever. So, in this case, the whatever is a sine of x. So, 1 over sine of x, but we still have this inner function. So we got to multiply that by the inner function, which of course is cosine, as you've said twice before already. Derivative of sine is cosine.
It's like I really get it.
So yeah. Questions on that? So again, this is the first 10 of your 15 questions.
What's the average difficulty?
It ranges. It's a big range. You know, you got super easy, and then of course there's differential equations. So.
Which I have no clue what's
Do
going
you
on.
follow the traditional teacher policy where if you erase it and or white out the problem, it doesn't count?
If you erase it?
If I erase it and or white it out, then it's not, doesn't count.
No, I don't follow that.
Have you considered
Any changes that I observe being made to my test result in a negative point score for that problem. That's my policy.
So I can't write on it?
Oh, you can. You just can't change the problem.
So I can't change the really difficult numbers to a
I
10.
don't want to walk around school.
I just have to-
If you want to make it more difficult, go right ahead.
Even if you can't change it from 0.
Let's make our own test.
When you didn't know that y equals 0 no matter the situation.
Okay.
As long as we're not squaring infinity.
And as long as we're not completing squares. Guys.
No, I'd rather complete the square. I consider myself a square.
On all levels except physical, I'm a square.
All right. Before you get intimidated,
I'm intimidated.
I know.
Too late.
Before you get intimidated, first by me and then by the integral, remember that you can have that entire integral box thing that I had you write all those rules down for. Taking the integral of secant squared is on that. So use that, solve this. Let's see.
Are any of you out here kind of looking like synonyms though?
I'm gonna go to what?
Are any of you looking like synonyms?
I was thinking about shading. For homecoming, I'm gonna get a
Synonyms.
Nice.
Handlebar, definitely handlebar.
No, my mustache doesn't grow that long.
That's like the last place it gets real good.
Maybe it's like right here somewhere.
Oh, that'll never come.
Mine is right here.
That takes
it doesn't grow right here.
Oh, really? A little
I
spot?
should pull a picture of my brother's beard just to show you like
It's kind of
how
self
great my family is with beards.
My dad, my dad didn't have a beard until he was like 20 something. I'm just sitting here doing it.
That's a nice looking beard.
I miss Mr. Hathaway's beard. Wow. Let me see it.
Because when you have one that thick, it'll cover up the splotches that there isn't anything in.
The thing is, he grew it like all through college, and he always had a patch under his chin because he cal on his face when he was a kid. He scratched that all up.
Ooh. I have a spot like that in my leg, actually. I was playing basketball once, and the basketball hoops were being... I was like in 5th grade, and I was playing a 3-on-3 tournament. And I was going in for a layup, and they kept the hoops staked into the ground with these big metal stakes. And my shin ran right into it. And it's like super smooth now. And like, if I'm ever outside, like, I don't know how to describe this, but like when I play softball, and I'm sliding into a base and you get all dusty, no dust sticks to that one spot. It looks really weird.
Is that satisfying or unsatisfying to you?
I think it's a nice little war wound or whatever.
Your battle scars.
Battle scar, that's what I was looking for. Finish this one up in the next 20 seconds.
If you're ready
Start
for
this one in the next
fight
20
song,
seconds.
go ahead.
I didn't really know what I was supposed to do, so I was just going to wait till you went there.
Oh, you're supposed to integrate.
Oh.
Yeah, I forgot we had a problem. So
Bro, why can't it just be Friday already?
That's a mood.
Alright, let's do this one
We
together.
play Charlotte Lutheran on Friday.
So, when you take the integral of 10x to the 4th, remember all you're doing is you add 1 to the exponent, to 5, and then you bring the inverse of that out in front. So, 1/5. 1/5 times 10 is equal to 2. So then that's 2x to the 5th. Any questions on how I got from there to there?
No.
Okay. And then when you look at your little trig integral sheet thing, the integral of secant squared is going to be equal to tangent. So this becomes 2.
No, it's. Oh, yeah. I was looking at the up sine x. It's negative cosine.
Don't correct him, Potter.
Oh, yeah. Is this right? Secant squared to tangent? I don't have this memorized.
You did it right.
Okay, good. So yeah, that would be your answer for this one. Let's do an integral that has numbers in it.
I did have numbers.
yeah,
Well, limits.
add numbers.
And then we destroy
The limit as approaches infinity.
Man, I hate litness.
What did you say?
I heard litmus. And I was
That's
like,
what I heard.
What's litmus?
All right, do that one.
I have to ask. What's up, dog?
What's up?
That was so funny and inspirational.
I thought it was pretty funny and inspirational.
I know, right?
I like to be inspired. I would like to make a tree diagram of how our conversations branch off. I think that'd be really interesting.
It all leads to anyone doing illicit drugs.
That's the trunk of the tree.
Middle illicit drugs.
Everything branches off from there. Oh no.
Once you do that, here's a U-Substitution one for you.
Oh wait,
I forgot what that is.
Mr. Hathaway, didn't they make like a whole song about that?
What were we talking about?
Of U-Substitution.
I don't know. That's a good
Say
question.
about illicit
Yeah,
drugs.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Wonder
let's
of
see,
you.
let's
I
count.
was gonna say there's a few songs about that.
These lucid dreams.
I still see the show.
Okay.
Here's what I wonder. I wonder if somebody was watching this and not looking at what we were doing, but just hearing our conversations, what class they thought this would be.
Oh,
Like,
no.
oh shoot, we're in
No,
trouble.
why did we want
Psychology.
access to ML-dash?
Honestly, all of these videos, the amount of time we're actually doing physics-related stuff versus how much we're just doing anything else.
Yeah.
It's so out-balanced.
Sometimes I feel bad for people that are watching these in the
Yeah.
future.
It's
Then
just
I realize
nonsense.
you should have just been in class.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, chill. Bro!
Where'd he go?
Just went through the vent! Guys, he's the imposter.
How do I use the vent like Mr. Hathaway?
So basically,
I was in a moment.
I love
substitutions
this.
and product rule.
Well, no product rule, just the U-Substitution, yeah.
Mr. Hathaway. Elvis made an album about
We're using
U-Substitution.
U-Substitution.
It's called The Wonder of You.
Oh, that's a nice song.
I'm using U-Substitution.
Substitute for.
Oh, wait. This is what I want.
27.
The horse's name was Wednesday, guys.
And we start a new branch.
Don't you know those stupid things that are like her first child's name was May, second was June, third was fourth, third was July.
What's the answer to that?
What was fourth?
Mary.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
I'll get
four.
there.
No,
The final answer
what
should be
was
negative
fourth?
6.75.
That's what I got.
Good.
No, I said guess what I got.
Oh, negative 6.75.
Well, yeah, but I was gonna say negative 6.74, but then.
Oh, I didn't actually type it in my calculator.
If I don't if I get the answer right, but I don't write it correctly, you're gonna mark it wrong. Like if I don't write that straight up and down line, I always forget that.
This one?
Yeah.
If you get the right answer, that's fine.
Oh.
But I mean, I do need to see work.
I have all
Because, you do have, let me make that clear, you do have to show your work. Because I know you can plug these into your calculator and get the right
I
answer.
have all the work, I
Yeah,
just don't have the
then I got
line.
the
That's
answer
fine.
wrong.
Sarah.
Yeah, Sarah's got like the NASA calculator.
No, I can do it on mine. I showed someone else how to do it too.
Yeah, you showed me how to do it.
What, just integrals?
I've remembered my calculator to this class like twice, so you're gonna have to remember Bless you.
Bless you.
I would just write the wrong number and wonder why you did that.
Or just spell a word incorrectly, but you know you spelled it incorrectly, but you don't feel like it. But then like a month later, if I would see that you spelled it incorrectly, so you go.
I don't know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing.
They ask you later, you have to see that you're fine, but you're not.
Okay.
Okay, I totally forgot to do this.
Let's see.
You know, that's how I feel with most of this stuff.
Well, at least you got your homework and stuff. The answer keys are all online. Make sure to check that through. One thing that I'll mention, and I said this a fair amount last year in physics, is the best way to study for these tests is to actually practice. Go through them without looking at the answers. Do not just look at the answers and go through it in your mind. That will not help you at all. So make sure to do the work, do the practice. Only look at the answers once you're as far as you can go, or you're finished.
I'm totally
Okay, show of
lost.
hands. Who cares actually listen to American Pie before Mr. J. Clinton?
I'm absolutely lost.
Well, that makes sense.
Wait, do we not have to? There's no number for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's what the U is. Why did you just cross out?
Here?
Like, I don't understand your
Yeah.
formula.
Because it cancels out with the x cubed over on the other side.
Yo, Ken just died. Okay, he almost died.
I follow.
I got it.
And then you always have to solve for the PU.
I got it. Or-
Yeah. These are the exact same procedure each and every time. I'm going to put one of these on the board that has numbers in them, and then that'll be as far as I go with this. I do want to mention a couple things. Make a note to make sure that you practice worksheet number 8, problem 3. Worksheet 8, problem 3.
Oh, is that the one where we had to find x?
Yes.
You had that.
You might still have it.
Oh, did I not hand that one back?
I don't think
I think I'm missing a
Oh, yeah. I didn't hand mine back either. Sheesh. It's a good thing you guys mentioned that.
Otherwise, we just don't mention it. And we'll push the test tomorrow.
No, then he says, well, that was your fault, so.
Well, that
Yeah,
was
we should push the test to Thursday, or not having a test. We should just all go silent.
It's all virtual
I
for that
feel
one
so
day.
betrayed and backstabbed.
So
right
nobody
now.
shows up to the test.
Chloe and Courtney have completely thrown me under the bus.
Oh, yeah, this was the nonsense. Okay. We'll ignore that one.
The other one I'd like you to take a look at is worksheet 9, number 2. We did that one in class as well.
That's the one that I just said was nonsense.
No, I swear Felicia wins this. I'm gonna be really.
In terms of the differential equations, just take a look at the ones that we did in class and the ones on your homework sheet there, just so that you have a little bit of practice with those. Just like U-Substitution, those are pretty much the same procedure each time. You got to exchange something, most of the time it's acceleration. Exchange it for dv by dt. Separate those two out. Take the integral, and then you're off to the races. And if you just do that separation, that's a majority of the points there. So.
Apparently 73 of them. Alright, practice.
Alright.
Practice.
I'll just put another one on the board. You don't have to do it if you don't want, but a little bit of extra practice. Everybody good with this one? Can I erase this?
Yeah.
Okay. This will be easier for the folks watching at home to see.
We got like 30 questions. 40 questions.
There's so many.
I think it's 35 or 40, right? We got like
Like 70 to 80 on the team now.
varsity only have like 20, 30.
Still, that's an.
No, we have like 20.
We have 25.
As long as we have more than 22, it's fine.
And this is what we're talking about.
Then we can have scouting.
Which one did I ask you to look at from worksheet 8?
Does JV
Number
have a
3.
game?
Number 3.
Good.
Does JV have a game?
No. He was
I
just
thought they had a
asking.
game today.
Oh, yeah.
Is it not till next week?
That's
Yeah.
I think that's
JV,
next
and why do people keep on talking about
Oh, maybe
this?
not.
There's varsity and there's JV. It's the
What?
Varsity? Like, I don't understand it. Like, keep the names of the
Time to practice.
Which am I gonna do?
It is.
He said,
That's
that's
not
funny.
very well, like,
It's a very cool.
people will keep their name out of their mouth. People will keep my name out of their mouth.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the end of this beautiful day here together at Martin Luther. Good luck and do well tonight. Tennis, volleyball,
And soccer. And soccer.
soccer, all the other activities. Volleyball and soccer at home tonight.
I will do this one at home.
Come on and cheer on your Spartans as they take on
I think we did this one in class.
Yeah, if you want to take a picture,
the
feel free.
action.
It's pretty close.
The other team.
Unless we did
Spartathon is
that.
tomorrow. A lot of information out there. Make sure and double check your responsibilities and everything you need to do there. Thank you in advance, Mrs. Miles and Mrs. Hartlaw, for all your work in putting together that wonderful event. And thank you to you all for being a part of it. Let's close our day of prayer. Good and gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for the abundant gifts you give to us each and every day. Help us to pause and be thankful for each and every one of those. Lord, thank you for the opportunity we have to be at this wonderful school. Thank you for our friends and our teachers and all the people that you surround us with. Help us to express your love to one another and encourage one another and build each other up as you have done for us. In your most holy and precious name we pray. Amen. Have a great night, everybody. Go